Ladies and gentlemen, representatives of mass media, we start the press conference of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Finland and of Latvia. I give the floor to Latvian Minister of Foreign Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, dear journalists, at first I would like to wish all of you Happy New Year, since this is our first meeting. I hope for positive cooperation also this year. Today, me and my Finnish colleague, Minister of Foreign Affairs Timo Soini, discussed several issues. First of them, of course, was our bilateral relations and the working visit of our President Raimons Vējons to Helsinki at the end of January. We also spoke about our economic cooperation. There are definitely reasons for us to be proud of. First of all, the activities of the joint stock company Latvijas Finieris in Finland and other means of strengthening our economic cooperation. This is also the year when we mark the 25th anniversary of our reinstated diplomatic cooperations and ties, and also our 25th anniversary of participation in the Nordic Council. Since Latvia is the coordinator of the Nordic-Baltic 8 format, and Finland is a coordinator of the Nordic Council, we also discussed implementation of our cooperation priorities. It includes cooperation in security issues, that is strengthening of security in the region, but also energy issues, cyber security, hybrid threats, etc. We were also discussing cooperation in strengthening the EU Eastern Partnerships policy. We discussed the current developments and situation in Ukraine. As well, we discussed cooperation with other member states of the Eastern Partnership. Another important topic of our discussions were common issues of the European Union, such as migration, a referendum in the UK regarding the further participation in the European Union. We also discussed the range of issues related to challenges which Schengen area has to face. Me and Mr. Timo Soini had joint views on migration issues. We agreed that we should pay maximum efforts to strengthen the external borders of the European Union, as well as to maximize the efforts in combating organized crime. Latvia believes that implementation of such measures is mandatory if we really want to maintain the integrity of the Schengen area and the freedoms it provides. This would also contribute to effective policy of the European Union. Latvia cannot and will not be able to agree to other relocation mechanisms of asylum seekers and refugees. We see that the decisions that affect the strengthening of the European area are sometimes not completely fulfilled. We will fulfill the decisions we have taken, but we will stand against any new decisions. In the end, we also discussed the security situation in the region. We were discussing the cooperation of NATO and Finland. especially in the light of the Warsaw Summit that will take place in July this year. We see Finland as a very important partner in security dialogue. We hope that the Warsaw Summit, which will take a format 28+2, that is all the NATO member states plus Finland and Sweden, will see new developments and improvements. That would be all from my side, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you, Mr. Rinkevic, and now I would like to give the floor to the Finnish Foreign Affairs Minister, Timo Soini.
Thank you very much. First, I want to thank my host, Edgars, also publicly, for the excellent chairmanship of Latvia of the EU presidency. It was job well done. And it was also a matter of pride of all of us from Baltic and Nordic areas, and it benefits us all as a whole, because everything went smoothly and the way we anticipated. And also I'm very pleased to be here in Riga. It's nice to be in the country where we have excellent relationships, no bilateral problems, because commerce is increasing, the relations are good, people are coming and going, there is tourism, there is increase in commerce, there is business chances and possibilities, and that is excellent. And also in the regional matters we are cooperating very closely. As Edgar said, one of us is the host of Nordic chairmanship, and the other one is Nordic Baltic 8. And these are very useful structures for us to cooperate, and gives us a broader space, and that is very good. And of course, as Edgar's mentioned, there is a wide cooperation in many other fields. Also in the European Union level, we co-hosted the breakfast on Belarus issues the last month, and we shall see each other also in Brussels on Monday again, and that is also the results have been good, and we should and we will be active together and individually, but we know that together we are stronger, and we have no problems to find a joint agenda to do this job and also to deliver. Small countries can in many cases produce more, and we are in a way ready and able and willing to deliver. And of course then the big bad world is still there. Ukraine situation, Syria, asylum seekers, terrorism, all kind of attacks, what has happened now in Istanbul, in Paris, that is of course a joint concern to all of European countries. And of course the asylum seekers crisis is huge, and as Edgar pointed out, we must do our utmost best to guarantee the external borders of the European Union. If we cannot do that, the Schengen area is seriously in danger, because that would lead to that kind of temptation, and also on the practices that each individual countries are going to make their own solutions. And I think personally it is better to make a joint effort to guarantee our external borders. This resettlement scheme is very challenging, and we know that it will be on the table again, but there was agreement in a way to resettle 160,000 asylum seekers. What has been done? 272. So obviously it didn't work, and that is going to still to be a big issue in in the months to come. And of course, this refugee crisis, the solution on that should be to tackle the root causes of the problems, and that is the war in Syria and also tackling ISIL in Iraq. And we must get rid of these causes, otherwise we are just tackling the consequences. And we must, of course, do the both. And but if that cannot be carried out properly, it will harm European Union and its cooperation very bad way. So we are going to cooperate bilaterally in our region and also in the European Union, and that is the case. And I'm very happy to say that this is one of my best visits, whatever place, because there are no problems at all. I should come here more often.
Yeah, more than welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Paldies Soinī kungam, un mums ir ļoti maz laika, un tāpēc mums, protams, viens.
Thank you, Mr. Soinī. Since we lack time, there's time only for one question, because Mr. Soinī has to move. Russia has reported that it will deploy 3 military divisions in the western direction. How will it affect the Finnish and Latvian relationship?
We are strongly working the stability of our region, and the way to do it is the format of 28 NATO countries plus Sweden and Finland. It is a matter of utmost importance that stability in the whole Baltic region area prevails. And of course we are closely monitoring what is happening. As you said in your question, that is what they have decided to do. Then we have to closely monitoring what it means in practice. And of course, Finland and Sweden are not the NATO membership, but we are close partners and cooperators with the NATO. And I think this will be one of the issues also in the Warsaw meeting in the summer, when all the NATO countries have the summit, which I hope also Finland and Sweden are invited to. And of course, the status quo in this region is very important for us, because we don't need any changes on balances on this, because if it will be the more Russian presence in the neighborhood, or it would mean in due course that there must be a reaction of the other side as well. Whether it would be more troops, whether it would be more cooperation, what kind of causes it would have. But usually when the balance is changing, then the actions are on both sides. But it is too early to say what this would mean, what you said, that what kind of consequences it would have. But one thing I want to stress, that nowadays also there is so much other security issues than plain troops. It's hybrid war, cyber war, information war, and that kind of combination of this. And there is also certain messages sent through all of these matters.
Pirmkārt, es gribētu atgādināt, ka
first of all, I would like to emphasize that the modernization of the Russian armed forces and the extended deployment in Kaliningrad and in our region started way before the events in Crimea. The NATO had good faith, and therefore it didn't do any activities to balance the powers in the region. Of course, after the March 2014, when It was globally seen that Russian Federation has violated against various international norms. A decision was taken to strengthen the presence of NATO in the region. The fact that there is no NATO division in the region, only a couple of battalions which are rotating, that is a couple hundreds of allied troops. It shows that NATO has taken only strong defense positions. This decision reiterates and strengthens our position that in the Warsaw Summit we have to decide on permanent presence of NATO forces in our region. We believe that this decision would be substantiated. That is another argumentation for taking such a decision. Thank you.